Why don't you just disappear?" Those words came from my own sister, Stephanie, and the worst part, my parents stood there, nodding in agreement. They thought I'd ruined their lives. I didn't argue back. I just left in silence. This morning, my phone, 14 missed calls, all from them. But before I tell you what happened this morning, let me take you back. Because to understand why those 14 calls mean absolutely nothing to me now, you need to know the whole story. If you've ever felt like an outsider in your own family, hit that subscribe button. I promise this story will show you that sometimes walking away is the only way to find yourself. My name is Maya Chen. I'm 28 years old, and I spent most of my life trying to earn a spot in my own family. I was 8 years old the first time I realised I wasn't really part of them. It was my first ballet recital. I'd been practicing for months, perfecting every plie, every arabesque. I was so excited. I begged my parents to come watch. "Of course we'll be there, sweetie," Mum said, kissing the top of my head. Dad ruffled my hair. "Wouldn't miss it for the world, Maya?" I believed them. The day of the recital, I stood backstage in my pink tutu, peeking through the curtain every few minutes, scanning the audience for their faces. All the other girls had parents in the front row, cameras ready. Some had whole families, grandparents, siblings, everyone. My seat was empty. The show started. I danced my heart out, hitting every position perfectly. When I took my bow, I looked out one more time, still empty. After the show, my teacher, Miss Caroline, found me sitting alone in the dressing room, still in my costume. "Sweetie, don't you have anyone picking you up?" I forced a smile. My family had something important come up. She drove me home. When I walked in, Mum and Dad were on the couch, watching Stephanie twirl around in a brand new princess dress. "Maya, you're back," Mum said cheerfully. "How was the recital?" You weren't there." "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Stephanie really needed this dress for her tea party tomorrow. You know how she gets when she doesn't have the right outfit, but I'm sure you were wonderful." Stephanie was 6. Her tea party with stuffed animals was more important than my recital. I went to my room and cried into my pillow, quietly. I learned early that making noise about my feelings only made things worse. 4 years later, on my 12th birthday, I learned that lesson again. My birthday is September 10th. Stephanie's is September 12th. Every year it was the same pattern. My parents would acknowledge my birthday with a "Happy Birthday, Maya" at breakfast, maybe a small present. Then they'd spend the next 2 days preparing for Stephanie's big celebration. The year I turned 12, I woke up excited. 12 felt important, like a threshold into something bigger. I walked downstairs. Mum was on the phone, writing notes on a pad. Dad was at the table, reading the newspaper. "Morning," I said, sitting down. "Morning, honey," Dad said, not looking up. I waited. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. "So, it's September 10th, I finally said. Mum covered the phone receiver. "Mm-hmm. Maya, do you think pink or lavender for Stephanie's party theme?" My throat tightened. I don't know." She went back to her call. That afternoon, while they discussed balloon arrangements and cake flavours, I went to the kitchen and baked myself a batch of cupcakes. Chocolate chip. My favourite. I put a single candle in one and sang "Happy Birthday" to myself in a whisper. Later, Mum found me. "Oh, Maya, you made cupcakes. That's sweet, but don't eat too many. We need you to have room for Stephanie's birthday cake in 2 days." I was 16 when something shifted inside me. I'd taken the SAT, studied for months, sacrificed weekends, stayed up late practicing math problems and reading comprehension passages. When the scores came back, I tore open the envelope with shaking hands. 1480 out of 1600, top 5% nationally. I ran downstairs clutching the paper. "Mom, Dad, I got my SAT scores." They were in the living room with Stephanie, who'd just been suspended for 3 days for skipping class. "Not now, Maya," Dad said, his voice tight with frustration. "Your sister is facing serious consequences here." "But Maya," Mum cut in, "we're dealing with something important. Can it wait?" I set the score report on the coffee table. "It's right here if you want to see it." No one looked at it for a week. By the time Dad picked it up, he'd forgotten I'd even taken the test. "Oh, nice job, kiddo," he said absently, setting it back down. I was 20 when the hope finally started dying. College graduation. I'd earned a full scholarship to USC, graduated summa cum laude. It was supposed to be one of the proudest days of my life. I sent my parents the invitation 2 months in advance, called them a week before to confirm. "You're still coming, right?" Mum hesitated. "Well, honey, Stephanie has a really important job interview that day. 2nd round for a marketing position. I should probably be here to help her prepare." "It's my college graduation." "I know, sweetie. But you're so independent. You'll be fine. You don't need us there, right? You've always been good at handling things on your own." Dad echoed the same sentiment. "You're a grown woman now, Maya. We trust you can manage." Graduation day was beautiful, sunny, warm, perfect. I walked across that stage, accepted my diploma, smiled for the official photographer. And then I stood in a sea of families hugging and celebrating, completely alone. I took a selfie with my diploma, posted it on Instagram with the caption, "Solo graduation, but still grateful." Mom commented 3 hours later, "Congratulations, sweetie. Sorry we couldn't make it." 32 people liked her comment. No one seemed to notice she hadn't been there. I thought that was rock bottom. I was wrong. 3 years later, I hit actual rock bottom. I was 25, driving home from work on a Tuesday evening. The light was green. I went through the intersection. I never saw the semi-truck running the red light. The impact hit my driver's side. The world became a chaos of metal and glass and pain. My car spun. Airbags exploded. Everything went black. I woke up in the hospital. Blinding white lights, beeping machines, a nurse leaning over me. "Miss Chen, can you hear me?" I tried to speak. My throat was raw. What happened?" "You were in an accident. You've been unconscious for 6 hours. You have 3 broken ribs and a mild concussion. You're lucky to be alive." Lucky, right. The nurse handed me my phone. "Would you like to call someone?" I called Mum first. It rang 4 times before she picked up. "Maya, this isn't a great time." "Mum, I'm in the hospital." "I was in a car accident." Silence then. "Oh my God, are you okay?" "I have broken ribs and a concussion. My voice cracked. "I'm really scared." "Oh, honey." I could hear muffled voices in the background. "Hold on." "Stephanie, sweetie, stop crying. I'm on the phone." "Maya, I'm so sorry, but Stephanie just broke up with Brad. She's absolutely devastated. She needs me right now. Are the doctors taking care of you?" "Yes, but..." "Good, that's good. I'll call you later, okay? Your father will transfer money for the hospital bills. You'll be fine. You're strong." She hung up. I called Dad. "Dad, Your mother told me. Maya, I'm so sorry, but we're in the middle of a crisis with your sister. I'll send money for the medical bills. You can handle this, right? I don't want money. I know, sweetheart. We'll visit soon. Take care of yourself. Click. I lay in that hospital bed, hooked up to monitors, pain radiating through my entire torso, completely alone. For 4 days, I stayed in the hospital, physical therapy, x-rays, pain management. Every night, I watched other patients receive visitors, flowers, balloons, get well cards. My room stayed empty, except for one visitor. On day 3, my neighbour, Mrs. Rodriguez, a 70-year-old woman who lived 2 doors down, walked in with a container of homemade chicken soup. Mija, she said, settling into the chair beside my bed, where is your family? I forced a smile. They're busy. It's okay. She took my hand. Her skin was paper thin and warm. No family should be too busy for this. Those words broke something in me. I started crying. Not the quiet, swallowed crying I'd perfected over the years. Real gasping sobs. Mrs. Rodriguez held my hand until I stopped. She didn't say anything else. She didn't have to. That night, alone in the dark hospital room, I stared at the wilted flowers she'd left on my bedside table. And I finally understood the truth I'd been avoiding my whole life. I wasn't part of my family. I never had been. I was just there, an obligation, a checkbox they could mark off when convenient. 3 years passed. I built a life, got a good job as a graphic designer, moved into a small apartment, made friends, real friends who actually showed up, learned to stop expecting anything from my parents. But I still went to family events when invited, still called on holidays, still tried, in some pathetic corner of my heart, to be someone they'd finally see. That hope died on Christmas Eve, 3 years after the accident. I was 28. It was December 23rd. I was scrolling through my phone when a group chat notification popped up. Chen family, Stephanie. Super excited for our family Christmas dinner at the Oak restaurant. Can't wait to see everyone. Mum. Reservations are for 6 p.m. Don't be late. The Oak, the most expensive restaurant in town. I felt a flutter of excitement. Finally, a real family Christmas. Then I saw the next message. Mum. Perfect timing with the 6-person reservation. See you all tomorrow? 6 people. Mum, Dad, Stephanie, her new fiancé Derek, Grandma and Uncle Mike. I counted 3 times. 6 people. I wasn't on the list. My hands shook as I called Mom. Hi, honey, what's up? Mom, I saw the group chat about Christmas dinner. Yes, isn't it exciting? The Oak is so beautiful this time of year. The reservation is for 6 people. A pause. Yes. I'm your daughter too. Oh, Maya. Her voice shifted, uncomfortable. Well, the reservation was only for 6, and you know how expensive that restaurant is. We figured, you're independent. You probably have your own plans. Anyway, I don't have plans. I thought I was spending Christmas with family. Maya, don't make this into a big thing. You're always so sensitive about these things. It's just one dinner. It's Christmas. And you're an adult. You don't need to be at every single family gathering. Honestly, sometimes it's just easier when she stopped. When what? Nothing. Look, I have to go. We'll see you another time, okay? She hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling something inside me finally crack. 6 months later, Stephanie got married. I received a save the date via email. Not a physical card like everyone else, a mass email blast. As the wedding approached, I wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid. I wasn't asked to help with planning. I was simply a guest. The day of the wedding, I showed up in a nice dress, brought an expensive gift, and sat at a table in the back corner with distant relatives I'd never met before. During the reception, Stephanie gave a speech. I want to thank my amazing parents for everything, and my incredible bridesmaids, Sarah, Jessica, Emma, and Amanda, who've been with me through thick and thin. I'm so lucky to have such an amazing support system. She looked right past me while she said it. I clapped, smiled, swallowed the hurt like I'd been doing my entire life. 2 months ago, on Father's Day, I tried one more time. I bought Dad an expensive golf shirt, $150, drove to their house for the BBQ Stephanie had organised. When I arrived, the party was already in full swing. Dad was at the grill, surrounded by relatives. Stephanie was holding court by the pool. I found Dad and handed him the carefully wrapped present. "Happy Father's Day, Dad?" "Oh, thanks, Maya." He set it on the patio table with the other gifts. An hour later, Stephanie presented Dad with an Apple Watch Series 9. Dad's eyes lit up. He pulled her into a tight hug. "Stephanie, this is incredible!" "You're the best daughter a father could ask for." He opened my gift later, barely glanced at it. "Nice. Thanks, Maya." I spent 45 minutes at that party, sat alone in a lawn chair, scrolling through my phone while my family laughed and celebrated around me. Finally, I stood up. "I think I'm going to head out." "Already?" Mum said, barely looking up from her conversation. "Yeah, long day. Okay, drive safe." No one tried to stop me. No one noticed when I left. 1 week ago, everything came to a head. Mum called me on Tuesday morning. "Maya, can you come to dinner tomorrow night? We have something important to discuss." Something in her voice made my stomach drop. "What's it about?" "Just family stuff, 6 p.m, don't be late." I showed up at 5:55 p.m. Stephanie and Derek were already there, sitting in the living room with drinks. "Oh, good, you're here," Dad said. Let's sit down." We gathered around the dining table. Mum had made pot roast, my favourite, ironically. Dad cleared his throat. "So, your mother and I wanted to talk to you girls about the future. We're not getting any younger, and we need to make some plans." "Plans?" I asked. "Estate planning," Mum said. "Healthcare directives, living arrangements." Stephanie leaned forward. "Derek and I have been talking to Mum and Dad. We think it makes the most sense for us to move into this house. We'll take care of them as they get older." "Wait," I said. "I thought we'd all discuss this together." Dad shook his head. "Maya, be realistic. Stephanie and Derek are married. They're settled. You're still figuring things out." "I'm not figuring things out. I have a career. I have my own place. I'm perfectly capable of—" "It's just easier this way," Mum interrupted. "Stephanie understands our needs better." The words hit like a slap. "What does that mean?" Stephanie sighed dramatically. "It means I'm actually present in their lives, Maya. I know their doctors, their medications, their routines. When's the last time you even asked about Mum's blood pressure?" I stopped. She was right. I'd stopped asking because they'd stopped telling me. Every time I tried to be involved, I was told it was handled. "This isn't about capability," Dad said. "It's about what works best for everyone." "Best for everyone," I repeated softly, meaning best for you three. "Don't be dramatic," Mum said. Something inside me snapped. Dramatic. I'm being dramatic. I've spent my entire life being pushed to the sidelines of this family, and now you're officially writing me out of it, and I'm dramatic. Stephanie stood up. Oh my God, here we go. Everything's always about you feeling left out. Do you ever think that maybe you're left out because you're exhausting to deal with? Stephanie, Derek said quietly, putting a hand on her arm. She shook him off. No, someone needs to say it. She's always playing the victim. Poor Maya, nobody pays attention to her. Poor Maya, she has to do things on her own. When have you ever been there for this family? My voice shook. When have I been there? I called every week. I showed up to every event I was invited to. You make everything awkward, Stephanie shouted. Every family gathering, we have to worry about you feeling excluded. It's exhausting. Everything we do, we have to think, oh, should we invite Maya? Will Maya's feelings be hurt? Is Maya going to cry about being left out again? Tears burned my eyes. So inviting me is a burden. Yes! She was yelling now, face red. You want the truth? You're a burden. You've been nothing but a burden. Why don't you just disappear, Maya? You've already ruined our lives enough. The silence that followed was deafening. I looked at my parents, waiting, praying they'd say something. Tell her she was wrong. Tell her to apologize. Dad looked at his plate. Mum looked at her hands. 10 seconds of silence. 10 seconds that felt like hours. Finally, Dad spoke. Maya, Stephanie's delivery was harsh, but she has a point. You do make things tense sometimes. Tense, I repeated, numbly. Mom nodded. Every family event we're walking on eggshells, trying not to make you feel bad. It's exhausting, honey. Maybe if you weren't so sensitive about everything. I make you uncomfortable? My voice cracked. I'm the problem? No one's saying you're a problem, Dad said. We're just saying maybe it's easier for everyone if we have some space. Easier? There was that word again. I stood up. My chair scraped against the floor. Every eye turned to me. Where are you going? Stephanie demanded. We're not done talking about this. I picked up my purse. Yes, we are. Maya, Mum said, don't be dramatic. Sit down. We need to finish this conversation. I looked at her, really looked at her, at all of them, and I saw it clearly for the first time. I was never going to be enough for them. Nothing I did would ever make them see me the way they saw Stephanie. There's nothing left to say, I said quietly. Oh, so you're just going to run away, Stephanie sneered. Typical. I walked to the door, put my hand on the knob. Maya Rose Chen, you sit back down right now, Mum said, her voice sharp. I opened the door. Cold October air rushed in. Fine, Stephanie yelled behind me. Leave, that's what you're good at anyway. Running away and playing victim. I stepped outside. The door was still open. I could hear them all in there. Mum, well, that went better than I expected, honestly. Dad, she'll get over it. She always does. I pulled the door closed, stood there on the porch in the drizzling rain. And I realized something. They were right about one thing. I was disappearing. But not because I was running away. I was choosing to leave. I got in my car, sat there for 20 minutes, hands on the steering wheel, engine off, rain pattering against the windshield. I didn't cry. I just felt empty, hollow. Finally, I drove home. The next morning, I woke up and systematically removed them from my life. Blocked Mom's number, blocked Dad's number, blocked Stephanie's number, left the Chen family group chat, unfriended Stephanie on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, deleted years of photos with them from my phone. I didn't do it out of anger. I did it out of self-preservation. For 3 days, I existed in a strange, quiet peace. No texts asking me to run errands. No group chats planning events I wasn't invited to. No reminders that I was always the outsider. Just silence. On day 4, I met my friend Nora for lunch. Nora and I had worked together for 5 years. She was the closest thing I had to family, though I'd never told her how bad things really were with my parents. "So," she said, sipping her iced coffee, "how was your week?" I hesitated. Then the whole story poured out. The dinner, Stephanie's explosion, my parents' silence, everything. By the time I finished, Nora's mouth was hanging open. "Wait, they said what to you?" "That I'm a burden, that I make everything awkward, that it would be easier if I just disappeared." "Maya," Nora set down her coffee. Her voice was deadly serious. "That's not a family. That's abuse." "It's not that bad. Stop." She held up a hand. "Listen to me. What you just described, that's systematic emotional abandonment. That's textbook neglect. What they did to you is not normal." "But maybe I'm too sensitive." "And no." Nora's eyes were fierce. "You're not sensitive. You're traumatized. There's a difference." The word hit me. Traumatized. Was I? "I want you to talk to someone," Nora said. "A therapist, someone who specializes in family trauma." "I don't know." She was already typing on her phone. "Dr. Sarah Mitchell. She helped my sister through something similar. I'm texting you her number right now. Please, Maya, just 1 session." That afternoon, I sat in my apartment, staring at Dr. Mitchell's contact information. Finally, I called. 4 days after the dinner, I sat in Dr. Mitchell's office. Soft grey walls, comfortable chair, box of tissues on the side table. "Tell me about your family," she said. For 45 minutes, I talked. Told her everything, the ballet recital, the forgotten birthdays, the hospital, the wedding, all of it. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. "Maya," she finally said, "what I'm hearing is a pattern of systematic neglect and parentification failure. Your parents emotionally abandoned you while expecting you to be self-sufficient. And when you asked for basic recognition, they blamed you for being difficult." "But maybe if I just tried harder." Stop." Her voice was gentle but firm. "You were a child. Children don't earn their parents' love. It should be unconditional." "Should be," I repeated. "I want you to do something for me," she said. "I want you to write a letter to your 8-year-old self. The little girl who stood backstage at her ballet recital, waiting for parents who never came." That night, I sat at my kitchen table with a blank piece of paper. I wrote, "Dear little Maya, I'm so sorry no one came for you that day. I'm sorry you had to smile and pretend you were okay when you were breaking inside. I'm sorry you learned so young that your feelings didn't matter. But I want you to know something. You deserved to be seen. You deserved to be celebrated. You deserved parents who showed up. And what happened wasn't your fault. It was never your fault. You were always enough. They just couldn't see it." By the time I finished writing, tears were streaming down my face. Not sad tears, relief tears. For the first time in 28 years, I was letting myself feel the grief I'd been swallowing my entire life. 2 days later, I got an email. Subject line, "Regarding estate of Margaret Elizabeth Chen." I almost deleted it, assumed it was spam, but something made me open it. "Dear Ms. Chen, you are hereby notified that you are named as a beneficiary in the last will and testament of Margaret Elizabeth Chen, deceased. Your presence is required at the reading of the will on Friday, October the 20th at 10 a.m. at Peterson and Associates Law Firm. Please confirm your attendance. Sincerely, James Peterson, Esq. I read it 3 times. My grandmother Margaret had died 8 months ago, according to the date on the letter. No one had told me. My own grandmother died, and my family never said a word. I called the law firm. Peterson and Associates, how may I help you? Hi, this is Maya Chen. I received an email about my grandmother's will. Yes, Miss Chen. Can you confirm your attendance for Friday? I didn't even know she had passed away. A pause. Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. The firm sent notifications to your entire family 6 months ago. 6 months. They'd known for 6 months. What's this about a will? I'm not at liberty to discuss details over the phone, but your grandmother specifically named you as a primary beneficiary. That's why your presence is required. Primary beneficiary. After I hung up, I sat there numb. Then I called Nora. They didn't tell me my grandmother died. What? She died 8 months ago. I'm named in her will. They never told me. Maya. Nora's voice was shaking with anger. What the actual fuck is wrong with your family? There's a will reading Friday. I don't know if I should go. Are you kidding? You're absolutely going. What time? 10 a.m. I'm picking you up at 9:30. And Maya, wear something that makes you feel powerful. Because I have a feeling this is about to get very interesting. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about Grandma Margaret. She was the only one who ever really saw me. I remembered being 13, sitting in her kitchen while she made cookies. You know what I love about you, Maya, she'd said, sliding a tray into the oven. What? You have the biggest heart in this family. You feel everything so deeply. Don't ever let them make you feel bad about that. But Mum says I'm too sensitive. Grandma had taken my face in her flour-dusted hands. Listen to me. Your sensitivity isn't a weakness. It's a gift. You care about people. You show up. You remember things. Don't let anyone convince you that's a flaw. But they always choose Stephanie. I know, baby. I know, and that's their loss. One day, you're going to understand that you don't need their approval to have worth. You're valuable all on your own. I'd hugged her tight that day, breathing in her smell of vanilla and lavender. Now she was gone. Had been gone for 8 months, and I never got to say goodbye because my family decided I didn't deserve to know. Friday morning, Nora picked me up at exactly 9:30. You look amazing, she said as I got in the car. I'd chosen a black dress, simple, professional armour. I'm terrified, I admitted. Good. Use that. She pulled out of my driveway. Whatever happens in there, I'm right beside you. You're not alone. We drove in silence. I watched the city pass by, mind racing. What did Grandma leave me? Why didn't my family tell me she died? At 9:55, we walked into Peterson and Associates. The building was all glass and steel, modern, intimidating. The receptionist smiled. You must be Miss Chen, conference room B, 2nd floor. My hands were shaking as we got in the elevator. Breathe, Nora whispered. The doors opened. Conference room B had large windows overlooking the city, a huge table, and sitting around it, Mom, Dad, Stephanie, and Derek. Stephanie saw me first. Her mouth literally fell open. What are you doing here? I walked in, Nora right behind me. I was invited. Mum turned, face going pale. Maya, we weren't expecting... Clearly, I said, sitting down across from them. Dad looked uncomfortable. Who's this? My friend Nora. She's here for support. This is a family matter, Stephanie said sharply. Before I could respond, the door opened. A man in his 50s, wearing an expensive suit, walked in carrying a briefcase. Good morning, everyone. I'm James Peterson. Thank you for coming. His eyes landed on me. Miss Maya Chen? Yes. Thank you for joining us. He sat at the head of the table, opening his briefcase. Let's begin. Stephanie leaned over to Mum. Why is she even here? Mr. Peterson heard her. Miss Stephanie Chen, your sister is here because your grandmother specifically requested her presence. Now, if everyone's ready, I'll begin reading the last will and testament of Margaret Elizabeth Chen. He pulled out a thick document. I, Margaret Elizabeth Chen, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this to be my last will and testament. The first few minutes were standard. Funeral arrangements, small personal items, a painting to Stephanie, some jewellery to Mom. Stephanie smiled smugly at each item mentioned for her. Then Mr. Peterson's tone shifted. Now, regarding the primary estate assets, everyone leaned forward. To my granddaughter, Maya Rose Chen, I leave the following. Mum's head snapped up. Wait, what? Mr. Peterson continued calmly. The 3-story Victorian house located at 2847 Maple Grove Road, valued at approximately $1.2 million. The room went silent. Stephanie stood up. What? That's my house. Grandma promised that house to me. Mr. Peterson didn't even look up. Additionally, the lakefront cabin in Lake Tahoe, valued at $780,000. This is insane, Dad breathed. The complete investment portfolio, currently valued at approximately $3.4 million. A mum made a choking sound, and the entirety of the savings accounts, totaling $1.9 million. Stephanie was shaking. $3.5 million? This can't be real. This can't be real. I assure you it's quite real, Mr. Peterson said. Additionally, Mrs. Chen left a letter to be read aloud at this meeting. He looked at me. Miss Maya, your grandmother requested I read this in front of your entire family. My throat was tight. Okay. He pulled out an envelope, broke the seal, and began to read. My dearest Maya, if you're hearing this, I'm no longer with you, but I need you to know something. I saw everything. Mr. Peterson's voice filled the conference room as he continued reading Grandma Margaret's letter. I saw how they forgot your birthday year after year. I saw how they missed your graduation. I saw how they left you alone in that hospital when you needed them most. For years, Maya, I begged them to see what they were doing to you. I told your mother she was breaking your heart. She would tell me, Mum, you're being dramatic. Maya is fine. She's independent. She doesn't need us the way Stephanie does. Mum's face had gone completely white. But you weren't fine, and I knew it. Every time I called you, I could hear it in your voice, that exhaustion, that resignation. You'd given up trying to be seen by them. Stephanie started to say something, but Mr. Peterson held up a hand. This money, this property, I worked my entire life for it. I saved every penny. I invested wisely. I could have split it evenly between you and Stephanie. Many people would say that's the fair thing to do, but I didn't, and I want you to understand why. Because I watched them choose your sister over you again and again and again. Dad put his head in his hands. Maya, you are the granddaughter who called me every single Sunday, even when you were drowning in college exams. You're the one who drove 4 hours to bring me homemade soup when I had pneumonia. You're the one who remembered my favourite flowers, my favourite songs, the stories I told you when you were little. You're the one who actually loved me. Not my money, not what I could do for you. Just me. Tears were streaming down my face now. Nora squeezed my hand under the table. Your parents and sister may contest this will. Let them try. I've made sure every document is ironclad. I've worked with Mr. Peterson for 2 years to ensure this. And Maya, there's something else you need to know. Mr. Peterson paused, looking directly at my mother. I have recordings, conversations where your mother admitted they excluded you deliberately. Conversations where your father said it was easier when you weren't around. I recorded them because I knew they would try to gaslight you after I was gone. They'd say I was confused, that I didn't understand the family dynamics, so I made sure you'd have proof. Mum's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Mr. Peterson has these recordings. If your family tries to tell you that you're remembering wrong, that you're being sensitive, that you're misunderstanding their intentions, he can play them for you. You're not crazy, Maya. You never were. They failed you. And I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you from that while I was alive. Stephanie was crying now, but they weren't sad tears. They were angry tears. This will is my final act of protection. I leave you everything because you deserve everything. And more importantly, you deserve to be seen, to be valued, to be chosen. I choose you, Maya. I always did. Be free, my darling girl. You never needed their approval. You are enough exactly as you are. Love always and forever, Grandma Margaret. The silence after Mr. Peterson finished reading was suffocating. Then Stephanie exploded. This is bullshit. Grandma was senile. She didn't know what she was doing. Mrs. Chen had a complete mental competency evaluation done by 3 separate doctors, Mr. Peterson said calmly. All confirmed she was of completely sound mind. Those documents are also part of the file. She manipulated Grandma, Stephanie pointed at me. She probably visited her constantly, poisoned her against us. The recordings, Mr. Peterson interrupted, span 3 years, long before your grandmother's health declined. Would you like me to play one? No, Mum said quickly. That's not necessary. But I found my voice. Actually, yes, I'd like to hear one. Mr. Peterson nodded. He pulled out a small speaker and his phone. This conversation took place 6 months before Mrs. Chen passed away, March 15th, 2024. He pressed play. Grandma's voice came through, thinner than I remembered, but still strong. Sarah, I'm telling you, you need to talk to Maya. Really talk to her. That girl is hurting. Mum's voice. Mum, Maya is fine. She's always been independent. She doesn't need constant attention like Stephanie does. Need? Sarah, she's your daughter. She shouldn't have to need you. You should just be there. I am there. I talk to her. When was the last time you called her just to see how she was doing? A long pause on the recording. I don't know, a few weeks ago? It's been 2 months, Sarah. I keep track because someone should. Mum, that's not fair. You don't understand how demanding Stephanie can be. I understand perfectly. You're choosing one daughter over the other, and Maya knows it. That's why she's pulling away. She's not pulling away. She's just busy with her life. She's protecting herself from you. Can't you see that? You're being dramatic, Mum. Maya knows we love her. Does she? because from where I'm sitting, you've done a pretty good job convincing her otherwise. The recording ended. Mum was crying now, real, ugly crying. She was recording me. My own mother was recording me. Because you refused to listen, I said quietly. She tried to tell you for years. You never heard her. Dad finally spoke, his voice hoarse. Maya, sweetheart, you have to understand. I don't have to understand anything anymore, I said. Mr. Peterson cleared his throat. There's one final element to the will. He pulled out another document. Mrs. Chen also established a trust fund. Miss Maya, you have complete control of this trust. However, she added a specific clause. He read, under no circumstances shall any member of the Chen family, excluding Maya Rose Chen, receive financial support, loans, or gifts from this trust or estate. This includes, but is not limited to, Sarah Chen, David Chen, and Stephanie Chen Morrison. This clause is irrevocable and will remain in effect for perpetuity. She's cutting us off, Stephanie shrieked. Your grandmother didn't owe you anything, Mr. Peterson said. This was always her money to distribute as she saw fit. Derek, who'd been silent this whole time, stood up. Stephanie, we need to go. No, this isn't over. Yes, it is. He looked exhausted. This is your grandmother's will. There's nothing we can do. We can contest it. On what grounds? Mr. Peterson asked. Your grandmother was mentally sound, followed all legal protocols, and clearly documented her reasoning. You'd be wasting money on legal fees for a case you cannot win. Stephanie turned to me, her face twisted with rage. You did this. You turned her against us. I visited her, I said simply. I called her. I showed up. That's all I did. You manipulated a dying woman. That's enough, Mr. Peterson said sharply. Miss Stephanie, any further accusations like that can be considered slander, which would give your sister grounds for legal action. I suggest you stop talking. Mum stood up, wobbling slightly. Maya, please, we need to discuss this. As a family. We're not a family, okay? I said. You made that very clear last week. We were upset. We didn't mean those things. Yes, you did. I stood up. Mr. Peterson, what happens next? We'll need to schedule several meetings to transfer the assets. Are you available next week? I'll make myself available. Perfect. I'll have my assistant send you possible times. He handed me his card. Miss Chen, your grandmother left very clear instructions. Trust me when I say she wanted you to have this. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for accepting it. I took the card. Thank you. As Nora and I turned to leave, Mum blocked our path. Maya, wait, please, we need to talk about this. No, we don't. You're really going to take everything, leave us with nothing? You have your house, your savings, your retirement accounts. You're not destitute. But the money could help Stephanie and Derek. Grandma made her choice. I'm respecting it. Stephanie pushed past Mom. You know what? Fine. Take the money. Take everything, but don't come crawling back when you're lonely and miserable because we're done with you. Good, I said. That's exactly what I want. Dad stood up. Maya Rose Chen, if you walk out that door, this is over. You understand me? We won't contact you again. I looked at him, really looked at him. This man who was supposed to protect me, who missed my graduation, who left me in the hospital, who stood by while Stephanie told me to disappear. That's what I'm counting on, I said. Mum grabbed my arm. Please, just think about this. We can fix this. As a family, I pulled away. We were never a family, not really. I was just someone who shared your last name and lived in your house. But I was never one of you. And honestly, I felt tears coming, but I didn't stop them. I'm tired of trying to be. I walked out. Nora followed. We didn't say anything until we reached the parking lot. Then Nora turned to me. Holy shit. Yeah, your grandmother just made you a millionaire. She did. And you told your family to fuck off. I did. Nora hugged me tight. I am so fucking proud of you. We drove to my apartment in silence. When we got inside, I collapsed on the couch. My phone started buzzing immediately. A text from Mum. Maya, we need to talk. Please don't do this. From Dad. Call your mother. Now. From Stephanie. You're going to regret this. I stared at the messages, then I blocked all 3 numbers. Nora was in my kitchen making tea. What are you thinking? I'm thinking I need to change my locks, she laughed. Done. I'm calling my locksmith friend right now. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the will reading, Grandma's words, the recordings, my mother's face when she realised I wasn't going to forgive them. Around 2 a.m, my phone buzzed with an email from Mum's email address. Subject, please read this. Against my better judgment, I opened it. Maya, I know you blocked our numbers. I'm writing this because I couldn't sleep. I keep thinking about today, about what Grandma said, about those recordings. I want you to know that I never meant to hurt you. Stephanie was just... She needed more. She struggled with school, with friends, with confidence. You were always so capable, so strong. We thought you didn't need us the way she did. I see now that was wrong. I see that we failed you. But Maya, we're still your family. We can fix this if you just give us a chance. Please call me. Please let us explain. Love, Mum. I read it 3 times, then I closed my laptop. Because I'd heard variations of that apology my whole life. We didn't mean it. We were stressed. You're so strong, you don't need us. You're so independent. Those weren't apologies. Those were excuses. The next morning, I called Dr. Mitchell. How are you feeling? She asked. I don't know. I inherited millions of dollars from my grandmother, told my family I never want to see them again, and I feel guilty? Tell me about the guilt. They're upset, Mum's crying, Dad's angry, Stephanie called me selfish, and part of me wonders if they're right. Maybe I should share the money. Maybe I should give them another chance. Maya, Dr. Mitchell, interrupted gently. Where was their guilt when they left you in the hospital, when they forgot your birthday, when they excluded you from Christmas? I was quiet. You're feeling guilty because you were trained to feel guilty. Every time you expressed a need, they made you feel like you were being demanding. But accepting your grandmother's gift isn't selfish. It's accepting love from someone who actually saw you. But they're my parents who systematically neglected you for 28 years. Maya, you don't owe them your inheritance, and you definitely don't owe them access to your life. That afternoon, I started getting voicemails. I didn't have them blocked from leaving voicemails, just from calling through. First voicemail from Mum, 3:18 a.m. Maya, it's Mum. I couldn't sleep. I keep thinking about that letter, about what Grandma said. She didn't understand our family dynamics. You know how she was. She always saw things in black and white. We didn't mean to hurt you. We were just trying to keep the peace. Stephanie needed more attention because she struggled more. You were always so strong, so independent. We thought you didn't need us. Please call back. We can fix this. Second voicemail from Dad, 5:45 a.m. Maya, it's Dad. Look, things got out of hand at that meeting. That lawyer made it sound worse than it was. Those recordings were taken out of context. Your mother is devastated. Stephanie is crying. We're still your family. Let's sit down and talk about how to split this fairly. Grandma was old. She didn't understand what she was doing. Call me back. Third voicemail from Stephanie, 8:10 a.m. Maya, it's me. Okay, I'm sorry I yelled at you. I was stressed about everything. But come on, you're really going to take millions of dollars and leave your own family struggling. Derek and I have a mortgage. Mom and Dad are getting old. They'll need care. How can you be so selfish? Call me back. I forwarded all 3 voicemails to Nora. She called me immediately. Oh, hell no. Struggling? Your dad is a retired civil engineer with a pension. Your mum has savings. And Stephanie married a corporate lawyer who makes 6 figures. Maybe I should just talk to them. Maya, stop. They didn't call because they love you. They called because they want the money. But where were these calls when you were in the hospital? Where were they when you graduated? They made their choice. You don't owe them anything. That evening, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Mom, Dad, and Stephanie stood on my doorstep. Mum knocked. Maya, we know you're home. Your car is in the driveway. Please, let us in. We need to talk. I took a deep breath and opened the door. Stood in the doorway, not inviting them in. What do you want? Mum's eyes were red and puffy. Sweetie, we need to talk about what happened as a family. We're not a family. Don't say that, Dad said. Of course we're a family. Families show up for each other. You never showed up for me. Stephanie crossed her arms. Oh my God, are we really doing this again? Yes, we made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but you're seriously going to hold a grudge forever? It's not a grudge. It's self-preservation. Mum stepped closer. Maya, please just hear us out. We want to make things right. Right now, after 28 years, or after you found out about the money. That's not fair, Dad said. Isn't it? You didn't want to make things right last week when you told me I made you uncomfortable. You wanted me to disappear, remember? Stephanie flinched. I was upset. I didn't mean it. Yes, you did, and Mum and Dad agreed with you. Mum started crying again. We were wrong, okay? We were so wrong. But Maya, we're still your parents. You can't just cut us out. Watch me. Dad's expression hardened. You're really going to be this selfish? Take everything your grandmother left and give us nothing? Grandma gave you nothing. That was her choice, not mine. She was manipulated, Stephanie said. You visited her all the time, poisoned her against us. I visited her because I loved her, and she loved me back. That's it. There's no conspiracy. Mum grabbed my hand. Maya, honey, you have to understand, Stephanie needed more support. She struggled with things you didn't struggle with. We thought you were okay. I wasn't okay. The words burst out of me. I was never okay. I was just really good at pretending because you taught me that my pain didn't matter. That's not true. Really? When I was in the hospital with broken ribs, you chose Stephanie's breakup over my actual injuries. When I graduated college, you chose her job interview. When I was 8 years old and danced my heart out at my first recital, you chose her princess dress. Don't tell me my pain mattered when you spent 28 years proving it didn't. Dad's voice got cold. So this is about revenge, punishing us. No, this is about protecting myself from people who hurt me and then blamed me for being hurt. Oh, please, Stephanie said. Everything is always about you feeling sorry for yourself. We apologized. What more do you want? Nothing. I don't want anything from you. That's the point. Mum changed tactics. Her voice went soft, pleading. Maya, we're begging you. Just think about this. We can go to family therapy together. We can work on our relationship. You had 28 years to work on our relationship. You didn't want to. And now that there's money involved, suddenly you care. That's not love, Mum. That's greed. How dare you, Stephanie said. We're your family. You deserve nothing from me. Grandma made that clear. Dad straightened up. Fine, you want to play it this way. If you walk away from us now, we're done. Do you understand? We won't contact you again. You'll be alone. I looked at each of them, Mum still crying, Dad angry and red-faced, Stephanie practically vibrating with rage, and I felt nothing. No fear, no guilt, just tired resignation. I've been alone my whole life, I said quietly. You three just happened to be in the same house. Mum made one last attempt. Maya, please, we're your family. Family is forever. Family is supposed to be a safe place. You were never that for me. So yes, if walking away means I'm alone, I'll take alone, because at least I won't be invisible anymore. Stephanie's voice turned vicious. You know what? Keep the money. Keep everything. But don't come crawling back when you realize how miserable you are without us. Because we won't be there. Good, I said. That's exactly what I want. Dad pointed at me. You're going to regret this decision, Maya. You're going to, wake up one day and realize you threw away your family for money. The only thing I regret, I said, is not doing this sooner. Mum's face crumpled. If you close this door, that's it. We're done. Is that really what you want? I looked at her. This woman who gave birth to me, who forgot my birthday, who left me in the hospital, who told me I made family gatherings uncomfortable. Yes, I said, that's what I want. I stepped back into my apartment. Maya Rose Chen, don't you dare, Mum started. I closed the door. They stood outside for almost 5 minutes knocking, calling my name. I sat on my floor, back against the door, listening. Eventually, they left. I sat there for another 10 minutes, waiting to feel something. Regret, sadness, fear. But I just felt lighter. Like I'd been carrying a backpack full of rocks for 28 years and I'd finally set it down. An hour later, I called Dr. Mitchell. I did it. I closed the door. How do you feel? I feel free. Is that wrong? Shouldn't I feel sad? You've been grieving this family your entire life, Maya. You already did the sad part. What you're feeling now is relief. They said I'd regret it. They want you to regret it. Because if you don't, it means they were wrong about you. It means you didn't need them. And that's terrifying for people who've spent years convinced they were doing you a favour by tolerating your existence. I let that sink in. What do I do now? You build a life, your life, not the life they told you you should want, the life you actually want. That night, I sent an email to Mr. Peterson. Mr. Peterson, I'd like to establish a scholarship fund with part of the inheritance specifically for young adults who've experienced family estrangement and need financial support for education or housing. Can we discuss this next week? Best, Maya Chen. I hit send, then I opened my laptop and started making a list. Things I want to do now that I'm free. Take a pottery class. Always wanted to, never had time. Travel somewhere I've never been. Make my apartment feel like home, not just a place I sleep. Host a dinner party for people who actually care about me. Figure out who I am without trying to earn approval. I stared at the list. Such simple things, things most people did without thinking twice. But for me, they felt revolutionary. 6 months passed. I moved into Grandma Margaret's Victorian house. The one she left me. It needed work, new paint, updated kitchen, some repairs. But it had good bones, and more importantly, it had love in it. I could feel it in every room. I turned the living room into a space for something I'd started calling Family Estrangement Support Circle. 12 people came to the first meeting, all of us with similar stories, all of us trying to heal. A 22-year-old named Jessica told us her parents kicked her out when she came out as gay. A 35-year-old man named Marcus talked about being the scapegoat in his family for 30 years. A woman named Linda, 50 years old, cried as she described being cut off from her grandchildren because she refused to give her daughter money. I thought I was the only one, Jessica said at the end of our first meeting. Me too, said Marcus. We're not alone anymore, I said. The Margaret Chen Foundation for Independent Souls launched 3 months later. 25 scholarships in the first year, full tuition plus living expenses for students who'd been cut off from family support. I met with each scholarship recipient personally. Jessica, different Jessica, 19 years old, sat across from me in a coffee shop, hands shaking as she signed the paperwork. "You're giving me $40,000 a year?" she whispered. "Your grandmother kicked you out for getting pregnant. You're raising a baby and trying to go to nursing school. Yes, I'm giving you $40,000 a year." She started crying. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll finish school. Say you'll build a good life for you and your daughter. That's all I need." She came around the table and hugged me. "Thank you. You saved my life." "No," I said, "you saved your own life. I'm just helping." Nora became more than a friend. She became my chosen family. We had Sunday brunches every week. She was there when I cried over nightmares about my parents. She celebrated with me when the foundation gave out its first scholarship. She helped me paint the guest room of Grandma's house. "You know what's crazy?" she said one Sunday over mimosas. "What? You're happier now than I've ever seen you, like genuinely happy." I think I finally stopped waiting for permission to be happy. I just decided to be. "Your grandmother would be proud?" I hope so. 3 months ago, I got an email from Stephanie. Subject: "We were wrong." I almost deleted it, but curiosity got the better of me. "Maya, I won't make excuses. We were horrible to you. I was horrible to you. Mum and Dad are in therapy now, trying to understand what we did wrong. I'm in therapy too. We're trying to process everything. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know. I see it now. I see everything we put you through. The neglect, the dismissiveness, the way we made you feel invisible in your own family. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. You deserved better. You deserved parents who showed up. You deserved a sister who had your back. And we failed you. We failed you in every possible way. I understand if you never want to speak to me again, but I needed you to know that you were right about everything. Stephanie." I read it 5 times. I didn't respond. But I didn't delete it either. I saved it in a folder. Proof that I wasn't crazy. Proof that I was right to leave. Maybe one day I'll respond. Maybe I won't. But if I do, it'll be on my terms. Because I choose to, not because I need to. And that makes all the difference. Last week, I hosted a meeting of the support group. 15 people now. We meet in Grandma's living room, sitting in a circle, sharing our stories. A new member, 28-year-old Rachel, asked me the question everyone eventually asks. Do you ever regret cutting them off? I thought about it, really thought about it. Some days, I admitted, I miss the idea of having a family. But I don't miss the reality of being invisible in one. I don't miss the anxiety of wondering if I'd be invited to things. I don't miss feeling like I had to earn basic love and respect. Do you think you'll ever reconcile? Another member asked. I don't know, maybe one day, but if I do, it'll be because I choose to, not because I need to. And that's the key. I don't need them anymore. I have a life now. A real life, with people who see me. I looked around the circle at these people who'd become my real family, not bound by blood, but by shared trauma and mutual support and genuine care. I spent 28 years trying to be enough for people who were never going to see my worth, I said, and now I'm enough for myself, and that's everything. After the meeting, I stood in Grandma's living room alone. Evening light poured through the windows, making everything golden. I walked to the mantel where I'd hung her photograph. She was smiling, wearing her favourite purple cardigan, holding a cup of tea. Thank you, Grandma, I whispered, for seeing me when no one else did. For choosing me, for giving me the freedom to choose myself. My phone buzzed, a text from Jessica, the scholarship student with the baby. Ms. Meyer, I got an A on my microbiology exam. I'm on track to graduate in 2 years. Thank you for believing in me when my own family didn't. You changed my life. I smiled, texting back. You changed your own life. I just gave you a chance to do it. Proud of you. I looked back at Grandma's picture. This was family, not the people who shared your DNA and made you feel small, but the people who chose you, who saw you, who stayed. And for the first time in 28 years, I felt like I belonged somewhere. Not because I earned it, not because I proved myself, not because I twisted myself into whatever shape they wanted, but because I was finally, completely, unapologetically myself. I walked to the window, looking out at the garden Grandma used to tend. I'd been learning how to maintain it. The roses were blooming, and I thought, this is what healing looks like. Not perfect, not easy, but growing anyway, blooming despite everything that tried to prevent it. My phone buzzed again, this time an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello? Maya? Mum's voice, shaky, older sounding than I remembered. My breath caught. How did you get this number? Your old co-worker. I'm sorry for calling. I know you don't want to hear from us, but I needed you to know. Your father had a heart attack last week. He's okay now, but it was serious. And it made me realize life is short. Too short to spend it estranged from your daughter. I waited, silent. I'm not calling to ask for money, she continued. Or to ask you to come back. I wanted you to know that I understand now what we did to you. Dr. Chen, my therapist, she's helped me see it. And Maya, I'm so sorry. I'm so deeply, truly sorry. Okay, I said. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Mum? That I forgive you? That we can start over? No, I wanted you to know that you were right about everything. We failed you, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. I felt tears prickling my eyes, but not sad tears. Not anymore. I appreciate you saying that, I said quietly, but it doesn't change anything. I know, I just needed you to hear it. From me, not through a lawyer or a letter from Grandma, from your mother. Her voice broke. I'm sorry, I was never the mother you needed. Me too. We sat in silence for a long moment. Maya, she said finally, yeah? Are you happy? I looked around Grandma's house, at the pictures of my scholarship students on the fridge, at the calendar full of support group meetings and pottery classes and dinner plans with Nora, at the life I'd built from scratch. Yes, I said, I'm happy. Good, she whispered. That's good. You deserve to be happy. I do. If you ever want to talk, my number is the same. I'll keep that in mind. Okay, goodbye, Maya. I love you. I should have said that more. Goodbye, Mum. I hung up. I stood there for a long time, phone in hand, processing. Then I texted Dr. Mitchell. My mum called, said she was sorry. I don't know how I feel. She responded within minutes. You don't have to know right now. Healing isn't linear. Sit with it. We'll talk in our session. I put the phone down and went back to the window. The sun was setting, pink and orange streaking across the sky, and I realised something. I'd spent so many years waiting for them to see me, to choose me, to love me the way I deserved. But I'd been looking in the wrong direction the whole time. The person who needed to see me, choose me, love me, was me, and I finally did. Have you ever felt like you weren't truly a part of your own family? Like you were always there but never really seen? If you have, I want you to know something. It's not your fault. You were never the problem. You were just surrounded by people who couldn't see your worth. And one day, you'll find your people. The ones who don't make you earn love. The ones who choose you not out of obligation, but because they genuinely want you there. You deserve that. You've always deserved that. To everyone who's been the invisible child, the forgotten sibling, the one who was always too independent to need help, you're not alone. And your story matters. If this resonated with you, or if you know someone who needs to hear it, share this. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is let others know they're not alone. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for seeing me. Because being seen, that changes everything.